exactly as it happened, but the occurrence may have fogged my memory a bit. My name is Jason. I'm a 17-year-old male, and I work second shift at a local Walmart in a small central city. At about 10 p.m. after my work period was over, I was driving home when I decided to stop for gas. In retrospect, it was really stupid to stop at all. The gas station was poorly lit and it was completely vacant of other customers, but I knew the shady areas of my town, and this was not usually one of them. I pulled up to the pump, expecting nothing less than just a quick in and out visit to the station, and began fueling my car. I waited for about a minute or so until I heard that prompting click of the gas nozzle. Just as I closed my fuel cap, I grabbed my receipt and began making my way to my driver's side door. An unsettling looking woman pulled up right beside me, regardless of all the other surrounding pumps that she could have gone to. I didn't think too much of it though, given that I was just leaving anyway, and just continued on to open my car door. But then I hear her shout something. "Hey boy, come here," while then motioning me over with her bony, tattered fingers. Me being the friendly person that I am, decided to engage in conversation with her, despite my immense feeling of uneasiness. I conferred back, then saying, "Yes, miss? How can I help you?" I now realized that I should have put more consideration into my words, as she then said, "Yeah, I need you to come over here and pump my gas for me," which I thought to be a bit odd considering she looked perfectly capable and she didn't even give me a reason as to why she couldn't do it herself. But stupidly, I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt. I started walking over to her vehicle when I then picked up on a bit of a red flag. She had already turned her car off as if it was ready to be filled up, except that her tank lid wasn't on that side of the car. Once again, I just gave her the benefit of the doubt and then thought, well, maybe she just forgot which side it was on, and continued round to the pump nearing her car, and then I saw it. The second big red flag, just on the other side of her car, was a light that I could vaguely see through her window, hence illuminating everything within the back seat of the car. Even through the densely tinted window of her sliding van door, I could vaguely see the silhouette of at least two grown men staring right at me. It wasn't that uncommon for both of them to have plans at night while I stayed home to play video games, and alone. This night was no different. My dad was probably at some bar, and as for my brother, who really knows where he was? I was playing the original Resident Evil on PlayStation, and at around midnight, my eyelids were getting really heavy, and I decided to go to bed. I had slept with my bedroom door wide open. Now, not one time in the years that we lived in this place did my dad or brother ever come home by entering through the back sliding glass door. There were a couple of times where my brother didn't have his key for one reason or another, and he knocked on my bedroom window to ask me to let him in. My dad always had his key though, and he would always come through the front door. On this night in question, I had heard the back door slide open. It was an old door, and sliding it open wasn't really that easy. It was also very loud, so I heard it crystal clearly. I lay in bed absolutely wide-eyed, my imagination going crazy. I heard whoever it was walk through the dining room, then through the kitchen, and then into the living room. They had made no attempt to be quiet. After a brief silent pause, I saw someone walk by my bedroom doorway. This scared the living hell out of me, as you can imagine. It's easily the wackiest and creepiest interpersonal situation that I've ever experienced, and it took an absurdly long time to unravel. From the very beginning, I felt like I was a detective trying to suss out the identity of my harasser. In the end though, when all of the pieces rapidly fell together, my head was spinning and I was so overwhelmed with the confusion, betrayal, and an ominous sense that I may have been spared from something so much worse. Let's begin. I actually covered a few of these a couple of years ago, so some of you may remember them, but the video has since been deleted off the channel, so I wanted to re-narrate them. The stories in this video are kind of interesting. Some of them will be from the perspective of the actual stalker or creeper, as well as from people who unintentionally became the creep. My friend was 28. So this is mostly ended, but this was ongoing for about a half a year. Due to a really shitty life situation, I had a really terrible breakup with the guy I'd been living with, and I was really raw. So I had moved into an apartment with a friend who was really cool about it, but never home. She always had guests though, and they were incredibly deeply terrible and weird. The very first thing that her boyfriend said to me after meeting him was that I should never trust anyone, especially him. Okay, weird. But then he started hitting on me. My friend would sort of watch this in a really weird way as if she was jealous, but I kinda got this weird feeling that she wasn't. He was really oddly charismatic, and he was the type that would get away with saying anything. My friend was the quiet, confident type, and she'd flirt with me on occasion too. It was really weird, but I figured that they were just poly or something. They came on strong, but I've always been the accepting type, so I didn't really care. A little over a month in, I couldn't move out and we had really started to get in trouble. Her boyfriend started threatening me and literally following me everywhere, including the bathroom. I'm starting to really freak out at this point, so my friend agrees to stay home. But then she starts staying home almost all the time. My friend then kinda fake rants about him to me, and she invites a completely new friend that I've never met to help us. They do this weird thing where they start to comfort me in front of him. He just sits in the corner as they start to hug me and tell me how awful he is, and then how great I am. I keep asking them to make him leave, but they just keep giving me excuses that seem really off to me. I also didn't have a job and I wasn't on the lease, yet the boyfriend and her friend were, but they didn't live there. Something that I really hated was that they were almost charmingly dishonest. They seemed like they were weirdly busy, and if I asked for personal details, they just kept changing the story. Her boyfriend literally said that he was a doctor, a judge, a cop, an actor, and even a lawyer at some point. My friend's friends seemed more like his friend, and they'd always be his coworker/assistant or occasionally boss whenever they changed the story.